Hi, my name is Muhammad Aziz. So now I will talk about what is economic crisis so that you guys have an idea what will we present next. Economic crisis, or also known as economic slump, is sharp decline in economic production, rising unemployment, and corporate bankruptcy that affect the number of production and demand. This will routinely result in excessive poverty stages within the country. All countries in the world had experienced economic crisis. To determine whether an economic crisis has a severe impact on the country is on how a country controls the crisis. The country of India is also not immune from the economic crisis, and the Indian government has its own way of dealing with the problem. That is why my team make a study on causes of economic crisis and on how India they deal with it, and we will show our study on this presentation. Before we further discuss about India economic crisis, I would like to share to you guys about their economy background. Do you know India is in 5th position in world economy ranking with a GDP of $2.651 trillion. There are so many. So the top 3 economy sector that contribute to this GDP is service sector, industrial sector, and agriculture sector. The service sector contribute the most with a percentage of 59%, while industry sector contribute 27%, and the agriculture sector only contribute 40% to the GDP. Now we will talk about Indian monetary system. Reserve Bank of India is in charge to manage the monetary policy. Reserve Bank of India will adopt this monetary policy in order to manage their country credit. There is 2 types of monetary policy in India, that is quantitative and qualitative. So example of quantitative monetary system in India is cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, open market operations, bank rates, repo rates, and reserve repo rates. Next, example of qualitative monetary system in India is change in the margin money, direct action, and moral suasion. So there must be objective of this monetary policy. So the one example of it is price stability. The objective of price stability is to stimulate economic growth with a focus on price stability. So the next objective is control expansion of bank credit. One of the Reserve Bank of India main responsibilities is to extend bank credit and manage the money supply with a particular focus on seasonal credit demand.
Problem and crisis in India. Unemployment problem.
There are several factors that influence the unemployment problem in India. Firstly, lack of skill-based education in school and university. Education system in India being more concerned with quality, knowledge, and written examination only as compared to practical activities. This will result in lacking confidence and ability after graduations. It will also make it difficult for them to get jobs in highly competitive conditions. Secondly, population growth. The rapid rise of the population is also a burden. The job opportunities available are not able to accommodate the large population of India. Instead, it will increase unemployment and in turn will increase the poverty rate in the country. The last one is pandemic COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic situation that is plaguing the whole country is also a major concern among urban Indians. This is a revelation from several studies. This will hamper economic activity as the government has already developed the quarantine and social distancing procedure to prevent a pandemic, and the whole world has been placed under the lockdown. This will affect the poorest in India when there are companies using the pandemic to downsize their staff and reduce their costs.
Inflation problem.
Global challenges such as rising commodity costs, global logistics, supply side constraints, and industrial raw material price will all have an impact on India's trajectory. Based on a comparison of a wholesale price index WPI base, inflation rose to a record high of 14.32% in November 2021, and the Consumer Price Index CPI-based retail inflation for November also spiked to 4.91%. The wide gap between WPI and CPI reflects price pressure on the wholesale side, which are likely to be passed on the retail level. This is due to the increase in the price of goods because of by certain factors. Firstly, rising input costs. Some companies, notably in consumer goods industry, have raised their product price. This will cause the purchasing power of the country's population to be lower than before. The cost push factor are also projected to occur will affect core inflations. Other than that, developing economies such as India have a less established financial market, resulting in a weak link between interest rate and aggregate demand. This accounts for the real money gap, which has been identified as a possible predictor of price rises and inflation in India.
Poverty problem.
The high population growth rate is one of the major reasons of poverty in India. This leads to a high incidence of illiteracy, inadequate healthcare facilities, and a lack of financial resource. Furthermore, rapid population expansion has an impact on per capita income. Other than that, stunted economic growth when population growth is expected to increase to 1.5 billion by 2026, resulting in job shortage. Increased cost of basic necessities is also a contributor to poverty in India. For example, a person living below the poverty line has a tough time to surviving themselves. Aside from it, the caste system and unequal distribution of money and resource are major cause of poverty in India. The biggest impact of poverty of Indians is poor health. Being unable to get proper treatment with a dirty and cramped environment due to inability will increase the various problems of infectious disease, and it will endanger the public.
Hi, my name is Nur Atira Damia binti Zakaria. I will present how government internet solved the problem. For unemployment, in 2020, both the Indian government and the business sector curtailed infrastructure spending, resulting in fewer employment being produced, while the Indian government is hampered by a decline in income collection. The private sector is hesitant to commit due to sales contract and a lack of demand. Experts suggest that bailing out medium, small, and micro enterprise (MSME) is another method for the Indian government to create more jobs. MSMEs, which are battling to stay afloat due to poor demand, are the backbone of the Indian economy, employing 110 million people out of a total workforce of 427 million. Next, for high inflation, the Reserve Bank of India (RBI) is in charge of the country's monetary policies and financial sector. To keep inflation under control, the RBI has implemented policies that reduce or increase specific rates. For interest rate, it is a short-term borrowing from the central bank secured by securities to inject money to bridge the gap between money demand and bank deposit. Next, in the reserve ratio, to protect the safety and liquidity of deposits, banks are mandated to retain a portion of deposit obligation in the form of liquid cash or CRR with RBI. When the reserve ratios rise, the total amount of deposit held by commercial banks that can be used to make commercial loans falls, reducing the bank's loan granting capacities. To keep inflation under control, the RBI sells securities in the money market, sucking excess liquidity out of the market. Demand falls when the amount of liquid cash available declines. The open market operation is the name given to this aspect of monetary policy. For poverty, sustainable farming, dairy farming development, women's economic empowerment, and a skill training and vocational education program are among the solutions conducted by End Poverty in India. End Poverty in India assists 304 new kids to enroll in school as a part of KSP program, and 126 girls were able to finish their literacy studies. Various organizations, notable and poverty in India, have tried to ameliorate existing challenges in rural communities during the previous few decades. Mentors from the ENCORE program engage with the heads of new charities to assist them accelerate their success and establish adaptive economic development strategies.
There are several suggestions to ensure that India can solve its long-standing problem of unemployment, inflation, and poverty. One of the solutions to the problem of unemployment is to create or provide job opportunities to the locals. It is necessary to developing new job opportunities in order to keep up with the rising labor force participation rates. The development of new job opportunities can also assist to avoid the rise in employment. Furthermore, the expansion monetary policy should be regarded as a tool of increasing the number of employment available to the people. Expansion monetary policy happens when the central bank utilizes its instrument to stimulate the economy, for example, the reduction in the reserve ratio. This generally means that the reserve bank's cash holding requirements are reduced, allowing the banks to offer more loans to individuals and firms. As a result, people has more purchasing power, allowing firms to expand and fulfill growing demands. Companies will be able to employ more people as a result of increased demand, giving the public higher purchasing power. To overcome inflation, contractionary monetary policy is an effective strategy. Contractionary policy aims to limit the money supply in the economy by rising interest rates and reducing the bond price. This helps to reduce the spending because when money is limited, individuals who has it choose to save rather than spend it. During time of inflation, reducing spending are important because they help control economic growth and in turn inflation rates. And finally, the recommendation that can be taken to overcome the problem of poverty is that government should improve the quality of social services provided to the poor, including education and healthcare. Government should focus on main areas, that is housing, health, income and education. People will be able to take care of themselves in these places, giving them hope they need to avoid poverty. The government also should concentrate on making education and conventional training affordable to everyone who needs it. The same should be required for the country's healthcare system. Poverty likely to lack access to high quality healthcare. So, if these steps are taken, it will surely be able to overcome the problem of poverty in this country. That's all from me. Thank you.